Hey friends and family, I got a big smile on my face from just watching the Jeff and Teddy videos. Oscar nominations without a doubt. Those guys are just brilliant. Just brilliant. Excellent. But I wanted to go ahead and dive in and show and talk a little bit about some of my punk background. I said I would a long time ago, and then I showed the video, and then there was another request, and I kind of got the feeling that, well, okay, let me just go ahead and talk a little bit and show a little bit. And to start off with, I'll show that T-shirt that you see me wearing in the video, the Discharge. This is it. Sadly, I don't have the album anymore. Hear Nothing, See Nothing, Say Nothing. I love that album, and I still do. So it's like, I mean, obviously, if I had kept all my records, I wouldn't be living in this house because there's not enough room. But let me just tell you about Punk and Dereck right quick. First off, when I got word about punk from overseas, when the phenomenon of punk happened in the late 70s, my initial reaction was punk. I thought that was MC5 and Iggy Pop. That was the first music that I personally, because again, you know, wasn't around for the beginning of rock and roll, but that was the first music that hit me like that. And when I first read about Iggy and the Stooges and Cream and stuff, and the way they were written about, punk and degenerate and radical, those were the words, plus the MC5 with their connection to the Black Panther Party, that was so punk to me. So frankly, when I first heard Sex Pistols, I was disappointed. I did not think that was really punk. I get it after the fact, but I was disappointed. The first punk that I heard that I thought was punk was the Damned, Ramones, to be honest, the Brothers, Clash, that was later, the Fall. I bought the Fall's very first record. Don't have it anymore. I'm so embarrassed. It's the new thing, and I think that was their first or second single. But when punk happened, and it, you know, with the English thing and the New York thing, and then the West Coast thing, I was all on board. And there is a racial thing here. One of the things that I identified with punk was not the fashion. I liked it and was fascinated with it, but what I connected with was the anger and the songs with messages. Not the, you know, I mean, it's fine to have your booze, silly party songs, but I resonated with songs like the anthems and, you know, um, I'm having a hard time being clear about what were some of those songs. I do know the first Clash album was important to me. Um, I won't try to reach too hard right now. Let me just go. So anyway, how did I get started playing punk music? Well, I was in Digital Sex at the time, mid 80s, and I picked up the habit of being in multiple bands just because I like to play and I have a lot of friends and a lot of interests. So I was working as a psychiatric technician back at that time in a hospital, and one of the kids I worked with just was crazy about punk. Anyway, you don't associate with the patients, but this is what happened. I would go to shows, and I'm trying to think, who was it I saw? I keep thinking it was an Effigies show. But anyway, I was at this show. It was a punk show, and it was a really good show. And out of the audience comes Matt. I'll say his name because I worked with him. You know, he was the lead singer. He was the guy that started the band RAF, Really Are Fucked, the band that you see in those pictures of me playing punk. And he approaches me after the show, and yeah, it was a really good show. And hey, man, you know, I need to first explain that when I would talk to him in the hospital, you know, he did have problems, but his passion for the music of punk was palpable, and it was real, and it was magnetic. And you folks that you see how I am about music, it means a lot to me. He was like that. So when we got to talking, and he said, "Hey, this is Paul. I'm starting a band. You know, I got a band with him, RAF, and you know, we're looking for a bass player. You know, and you know, and yeah." I said, "Well, Matt, you know the deal, but you know, Paul was the X Factor. You know, Paul was this gangly, geeky ass 17-year-old kid, you know, with pimples bigger than his face, you know. But again, I could sense this kid is a musician. I just go a lot with my senses, people. So I said, well, I might check you out. I went to a practice, and the rest is history. That's cliche, but it really is. It was like I went to practice. Um, we were a 5-piece, 2 guitarists, and they were playing their songs, showing them to me with the second guitarist playing bass. I was blown away at the songs, the lyrics, and everything, and their energy. I said, I'm in. Okay. So I joined the band RAF, Really Are Fucked. I didn't pull it because I didn't know where to look. We made 1 cassette. I don't have any copies but mine. These Days of Tears. Got a good review in Maximum Rock and Roll. But played a bunch of shows. I saw a bunch of shows. Let me just get into the music. So I'll show some T-shirts first, okay? So I showed you my Discharge, and I did not get to see Discharge, but I had to get the shirt. Let's see, what do we have next? This is SNFU. Open your mouth and say Skinny Nuns from Utah, or whatever else it means. Played a show with SNFU at the legendary Lift Ticket bar here in Omaha, which is now the Waiting Room. Partied with them afterwards, late into the night, had to work the next day. I didn't care. It was one of those special nights. We bonded, you know what I'm saying? Especially if I saw the lead singer, who was kind of like, was like half Chinese, just he's like a brother, you know what I'm saying? It was this tour that we played. If you swear, you'll catch no fish. No fish. This was the tour we played with them on. I'm sure I got the guys to sign my album. Maybe on the inside, but the singer, this cat here, I can't remember his name. We just got on like family. It was just awesome. And these guys were excellent. You know that wild, raw, flying energy of punk rock? When a really good punk rock band is on all fours and it's flying. That show with SNFU was phenomenal. And I don't know why I thought this was autographed. Okay, I'm going to set that over there. Okay, SNFU. I play some music, but you guys play your own background for this, your own favorite punk songs. BGK, this is another from Holland. This was another, for me, this was a phenomenal show. I love this show. The audience got into it really good. I was surprised because I didn't know who BGK was. We got asked to open the show. RAF was asked to open for them. I didn't know who they were. And once again, they were wonderful, wonderful. I'm looking for the record. Wonderful people, wonderful, just the nicest people. And the whole vibe, this band was very political, BGK. This one they autographed for me. We had such a fantastic night. They were political, so the songs were very topical. The kids knew the songs, they knew the words. It was like almost like a rally, you know, that we're all in this together, and it was about right thinking and trying to pull together, you know, and fuck the man, you know. So BGK. Next, I've posted several videos of their music. NoFX. Played with NoFX. When they were still on Mystic, they were just kids, just starting out. Summer 1986. So what if we're on Mystic? They recorded in my basement of my old house. I recently got a contact, but I haven't followed through on it to see if they would, you know, want to release it properly, or I hope it doesn't happen that it just gets released, because I understand that someone had made a copy of the tape to send it to them, you know. I would just want credit, that's all. But when NoFX played, they were really pretty terrible. But it was punk, you know what I mean? I mean, that was the essence. They were having so much fun, and they were so obnoxious. They were just these obnoxious skate punks. Really, really silly. But I really enjoyed them, Told my story about GBH and about the t-shirt. The guitar player was trying to give me a little bit of aggro at first, some racial shit, you know what I'm saying? By the end of the night, it was all good, you know? They were great. They played in Lincoln, Nebraska in this little bitty hut that was like a sweat lodge. It was so hot that the drummer, and it was so crowded that the drummer passed out, fell over on his drums. There was no place for him to fall. He was in a corner like this, literally, you know, and I just saw it coming, and then he just passed out. The band never stopped playing. You know what I'm saying? It was so loud. I think that, I forget the singer's name. He sort of noticed. He kept singing. They just kept going, and, you know, a few seconds later, it was just the best. Some of my favorite concert memories and some of my favorite gig memories are from playing punk rock. Absolutely phenomenal energy and fun. Fun. Played with Detroitson, opened for these guys. This was an awesome show. They excellent musicians. Detroitson kicked my ass. And thankfully, they were impressed with us, RF, because we played good. When we played, we rocked. And they had a bit of an attitude in that they knew they were good. Detroitson knew they were good, so they were respectful. I liked that. Last T-shirt I have is Agnostic Front. These, anyone that knows New York punk knows that Agnostic Front rules, especially back in the day. Agnostic Front could not be touched. Bad Mofos. Glad I saw them, okay? Show a few records. I just pulled a few. I sold the majority of my punk. And I have more than what I have to show here, but I just want to go ahead and show a few records. Would love to hear from you guys, okay? Many of these, I kept them mostly for sentimental reasons. You know, I did a show with them, or there's some kind of personal connection. I just showed you the BGK on Alternative Tentacles, Jello Biafra's label. As I've mentioned before, I exchanged contact information with Jello Biafra after played with the Dead Kennedys. We vibed, talked quite a bit, and then he got a hold of me because he heard about my records, and he's a record collector. And it took me a few years, but I finally got him a copy of my first EP, and we hooked up back then and exchanged information again. So yeah, he's a good dude. Code of Honor. Beware the Savage Jaw. West Coast hardcore punk, early 80s. Anybody know this band? This cat here is a friend of mine. I hope Mike's not dead. Mike Fox. Typical example of the Darby Crash syndrome. Got junked out bad. Had to get out of California to save his life. Ended up in Omaha. Met through the scene because he couldn't stay away from music. We became friends, and he was a producer for Subterranean, the Subterranean label. A lot of those early Subterranean records were produced by him. I have some more singles here to show that he recorded and produced. Great guy. Great guy. Code of Honor. Great West Coast punk. I haven't played this forever, but Social Unrest. This was another phenomenal show in Omaha. Phenomenal. Now, this is autographed, but all I had was a big pen, so you can't see it. It's on the back, isn't it? Yeah, there it is. It's all faded. But just phenomenal. And again, they had the vibe. You know what I'm saying? You want to be heard. Talk is cheap, you know. Man, you know, these guys had that vibe. This was an amazing show. Social Unrest. I had to keep this. I need to play this. It was like phenomenal. Played with these guys from England, Stupids. These guys were so much fun. And they were literally kids when we played with them. They were like 15, 16, 17. Signed it as you can barely see, but we had a wonderful night. After the show, hung out on the street in front of the bar, half the night, talking to these guys, drinking. I'm not much of a drinker, but I drank with them. They're skating. It was so much fun. The guy in the middle, I can't remember his name. What is it? Tommy Stupid. It was so much fun. Stupids. Creaming Jesus I bought this. I got this at that record sale for $0.10, and they do a punk version of The Cure's song "A Forest." Not too bad. The other thing I like about this is that it's on my favorite color vinyl, orange. Nice, yummy orange. You could just about eat it. Creaming Jesus. Really don't know too much about this band, so again, some of you brothers that know this stuff can tell me more about them. I'd love it. Of course, I had to get another copy of this. I had an original, got it back. This is an original. I checked it out on Stiff. Love this album. New Rose. Neat. Love it. This is the band, Capital Punishment, that I do the cover of in that other video. It's the opening track on this album, Ballad of a Broken Man. If you can Google this, or maybe this is on YouTube, you can hear. I really try to do it. That's how the guy, Dale, I think is his name. Yeah, because we reconnected about 3 years ago through the internet. Great people. Played with these guys actually on 2 different tours. They came through twice and just had a blast both times. It was with Capital Punishment the first time that I was rocking so hard that I ended up smashing my head into a pole and just bust my head wide open and bleeding everywhere. I didn't stop playing and the audience went mad. You know, Bloodlust. It was wild. They went nuts. Showed this before Indigesti. I scared these guys from Italy. They couldn't speak a lick of English. Probably had never seen a real black person, much less a black person at a punk rock show. I was the only black person at the show. They freaked me out. They were so good. I wanted their autograph, which I did get. But they didn't speak English, and they see this black man coming, and they were scared to death. I did not misinterpret that at all. And their manager made it all cool. It was funny. Never saw these guys, but somehow got turned on to this album. German, Inferno, Hibakusha, or is Hibakusha? I love this album. Okay, I'm going to break down. This one I like so much, I got to pop this mother on now. I see we're at the 17-minute mark. You know, I stop at 20 minutes, not because I can't go longer. I can, but it's like, man, it's a long-ass time to be trying to watch some fucking video. Okay, so we'll be listening to some Inferno in the background while I continue the records. Oh, come on, baby. This is some fucking good shit. Wow. That's so cool. God damn, that's cool. I don't know. I guess I'm a punk forever. That shit is good. Ramones, we have to talk about the Ramones. Ramones blew up Omaha when they came to Omaha. That was one of the first punk shows. And if you could talk to anyone from Omaha that was at the Omaha first Ramones show, they will tell you it was like an atomic bomb went off. Many of us didn't sleep for days. It was amazing. Scream, these guys kill on Discord. Dave Grohl was in this band, but he's not on this album. I have the single he's on. Excellent. The DC hardcore scene, phenomenal. I missed seeing Minor Threat, and I just was lazy and never went to see Fugazi. But once again, this is the shit, guys. You can tell that I'm up now. It's music. It's the energy. Music. How can you miss it? Gray Matter. More DC punks. Excellent. Some records I wish I still had are like by D.I. Oh, man. That came right away. DI. Fuck. I used to have Germs. I sold it to the drummer of RAF. He needed to have it. Corrosion of Conformity. I saw these guys. It blew my mind. Blew my mind. The first album is just the best. This is the best. Eye for an Eye. And then, of course, we got to talk about Bad Brains, Eye Against Eye. I saw Bad Brains with HR. They rocked so hard, they made the stage come apart, literally. And the lighting rig fell partially on the bass player. We thought the show was going to be over. They hadn't put the stage together as tightly as they didn't know what Bad Brains were going to do. Wow. Bad Brains. And then I have Quickness. Yeah, hung with these guys. Yeah, the Doctor. Doctor knows. Okay, we'll try to wrap this up. Some singles. These were produced by my friend Mike Fox. Oh, hell, Mike's in this band. Sick Pleasure. West Coast Punk. Look at that weird-ass cover. There's Mike on the back again. West Coast, y'all. Society Dog. San Francisco Underground. These first three are records. Well, all of these, and the next one too, these are records from the Subterranean label. San Francisco, my friend Mike Fox recorded these. Society Dog is on here. Undead, Lewd. Flipper is on here. I just thought I'd mention that because you know them. Victims, No Alternative. Here's that Scream single that Dave Grohl plays on. No, not for sale. These are more on the commercial side, but I included them because I saw them in my collection. Ruts. Something that I said in Babylon's Burning. Great singer. He died a long time ago, but wanted to show these. Don't know much about this, but this is punk, and I found it, and I bought it because I like the cover. Porcelain Forehead. And this is really, really excellent. Punk from Japan, Plastics. Great stuff. This one is killer. Pagans. This is an original. Yes, it is. Pagans. Street Where Nobody Lives. What's this shit called? Love It. Do you guys know this record? I'm going to say it. People that know the history of punk know this record. I have been offered a lot of money for this. Not for sale. This is an original, baby. Let me show it to you. And it rocks. It's valuable for a reason. Two more. Los Nuns. This is another badass early punkish single. Media Control, Los Nuns. And the last one I have is on the legendary Danger House label. Rhino 39. Yeah. On Danger House. Punk, y'all. I could go on. Look at the time. I'll talk to you later.